I miss the person that they were.
Yeah, absolutely.
And more than anything, I used to want there to be a life after death because I was afraid to not exist. But since they died, I've wanted there to be a life after death because I can't cope with them not existing.
It all starts with a single question asked to an anonymous caller. What do you think happens when we die? And from there, the conversation goes in completely unexpected directions. Some speak with certainty, others with doubt. Some are still trying to make sense of it all. I'm Zach Ansell, and this is When We Die Talks, a podcast about death, meaning, and how that shapes the way we live. This podcast was born from my own fears around death and the need to talk about it. Thank you for being a part of this conversation. I'm glad you're here. Hey, welcome back or welcome here if this is your first time. This week's caller was a toddler the first time their family realized something was different. They'd wake up in the middle of the night talking to someone who wasn't there, and the light in the room would already be on, a light they had no way of reaching themselves. One night, their dad finally shouted through the house to turn it off and go back to sleep. Every light in the house went out at once. And things didn't stop there. Quickly in elementary school, they got banned from sharing during story time. They'd mentioned to a classmate the exact color and length of a classmate's grandmother's necklace. The grandmother had been dead for years. The classmate's parents started calling the school, trying to figure out how a kid knew details like that. For a long time after that, our caller just stopped telling people what they saw. It was easier to stay quiet than to be told they were imagining things. These days, they work with the dead as a medium and make art about death, adding color to life back into something most people are taught to look away from. You don't have to believe in any of it to recognize the question underneath. When something happens that doesn't fit what you're taught to expect, do you let it sit there unexplained, or do you find a way to explain it away before it can mean anything? Let's get into the call. I hope you enjoy.
Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Okay, how are you?
I'm doing okay as well. It's been a strange day, but I'm excited to chat with you.
Same.
Awesome. The way that I normally like to start these calls is this is a topic, death, that a lot of people don't like to talk about. And then I'm also a complete stranger that you somehow saw on the interwebs and decided to sign up to be a part of this project. And so maybe just briefly, because we'll deep dive into kind of everything, or maybe not everything, but as much as we can in about an hour. But maybe you can just let me know why you even wanted to do this call.
I guess before I should say that, just in case, it's evening time where I live, and my apartment is full of windows, and I have a husky mix who likes to scream deer. So if you hear any weird noises, I apologize. That's my dog screaming at a deer.
Perfect. I love that you've set this scene. It sounds amazing. It's probably not that amazing.
Right, it's charming.
Okay. Good.
It escalated quickly.
Now that we got the stage set in terms of expectations of background noise, yeah, why did you want to do this?
I've always been, I guess, interested in death sounds wrong. A person who thinks about death a lot, but especially lately because my partner and best friend passed away almost a year ago today.
I'm so sorry.
Thanks. Yeah, it'll be a year in a couple weeks. And so I've just been thinking a lot about death, what it means.
Of course, yeah.
Like what I think happens. I don't know whether or not I should carry on in the hopes of seeing this person again in some capacity someday or not.
Yeah.
How to navigate that.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of... See, this is where I get in trouble because I already have questions that I want to ask and things to go into. But before we do that, well, maybe just to get to know you a little bit, obviously we're going to keep things anonymous, keep the anonymity so that you feel comfortable talking about what you want to talk about. But just roughly, maybe you can let me know the state that you live in now, and then maybe the state that you would call your childhood home, where you formed you in a way, if that makes sense. And then the second question is, what's your favorite book and why?
Ooh, okay. Hard.
Yeah.
I feel like my favorite book is way more telling to the people that know me in real life than where I'm from, because I'm from California.
Okay, yeah.
I'm from California, but I live in Indiana.
Okay.
Which is strange That's a strange journey. And then my favorite book is The Master and Margarita
Okay.
by Mikhail Bulgakov.
Okay. And why is that your favorite?
Oh, well, I fell in love with it for the discussion of like life and death that it has at a time when I was young and lacked the context to understand the political aspects of it.
Yeah.
And then I got older and learned more about the Soviet Union and also liked the political aspects of it. But really it's funny, and I like a good book about like magic and the devil and playing pranks on people.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect reason to like a book. And I have this, I don't even know, this messy is not the right word, but just this very hodgepodgey list of books from every single person that I've talked to. So it's just this really strange mishmash of books, and I'm excited to add yours to the list. And like I said already, I'm excited to chat more about your story with you, hear more about your thoughts and beliefs and all those things. And so we can just kick the conversation off with the question of, what do you think happens when we die?
I think nothing. I wish I didn't think nothing, but gun to my head, I think nothing happens, and that upsets me.
Yeah. You're in, I don't know. My brain's fried right now. You're in good company, similar company. I don't know the right phrase. That's why I started this whole thing. Is I also have forever felt that nothing happens and not super pumped about it. And so I just talk to strangers and try to convince myself of otherwise, but so far it hasn't worked. Yeah.
That's one thing that drew me to this and to your project, was reading that and hearing that. So I was like, oh, yeah, same.
Perfect. I'm glad that maybe we can, I don't know. It's been a while since I've made this joke. Maybe we're like starting, it's because I don't really want to say that I'm agnostic. I don't really want to label myself, and like it feels like too much pressure to say I'm agnostic or atheist or any of those things. But maybe we're like starting to group together this collective of us that believes nothing that happens, and maybe we'll start like our own church or something. But that also sounds like a lot of work and a lot of pressure, and I don't really want to do that.
A very lazy church with very few responsibilities.
Yes. Now you're talking my language. There we go. See, you're the one who brings it all together. I'll just throw out some ideas, and then you're the one who really forms it. But this is, I don't know, maybe that's another podcast that we start or something, but we don't really want to talk about me. I want to hear more about you. And the way that you phrased it is that you believe that nothing happens, but you also said that you wish that it didn't. And obviously, from the context that you gave at the beginning of the call, and I think we'll go there in a second. Again, if you're willing, if you don't want to talk about it, we can find other things to talk about. But
talk about it.
What do you hope then? Like if there is, I believe nothing happens, there's probably a small sliver of maybe it's just a collective consciousness, which I, again, have said this a million times on here, that I don't know if that's really much different than nothing in my mind, because I don't know if me, Zach, would exist anymore. I think reincarnation would be really cool. Like, I think that there's maybe a hope of that, but it's not something I can buy into. So is there something that you like hope would happen? Yeah. Is there anything that comes up around that?
Absolutely. I hope that, I only know how to describe it with reference to a music video.
Amazing. I love this already.
There's this like weird like dream synth band from Austin from like 15, 20 years ago, the Octopus Project.
Well, that sounds vaguely familiar, but yeah, okay.
They're the ones who wear the masks that are like masks of electrical outlets.
Okay.
If that rings a bell. But they have this song called I Saw the Bright Shinies, and it's like a sort of like dreamy theremin song with a beat. Nice. And it's just like nice music for like relaxing. But the music video has these like very pleasant animation of like little ghosts hanging out in a forest with some like forest animals.
Nice.
And there's just something so comforting about it. And like whenever I've imagined an afterlife, if like I could design an afterlife, I think about that kind of forest. Like I think about a calming, nature-y setting in which things are just quiet, like not much pressure. Because when I think about what it is to be alive, I think a lot about like motion and pressure, because that's one definition for what it means to be alive is always in motion. And I don't know, I'm a bit of a biology nerd. So I think about the concept of apoptosis, programmed cell death. Like I heard once that the word means like literally like dead leaves falling. I don't know if that's true. I don't speak Greek, but somebody told me that when I was really young and it stuck in my head and I can't not think about it. So if I think about what I would like an afterlife to be like, I like to think about it as what happens when the fall leaves fall to the ground. Like they become a part of something else, and that something else is on its surface dead and decaying, but in reality is also like a quiet and warm and safe place to like rest or hide. I don't know.
Yeah, I like that visual. Also, fall's my favorite season, so you're speaking my language.
Oh, mine too.
It's the best.
It really is.
And so I'm assuming in this kind of, I don't know, I'm just going to continue to say hope. I think there's maybe a different word that I could use, but again, my brain's fried. And so in this hope, I'm assuming there's probably like some desire for, and I'm dancing around saying it, but like seeing loved ones again. And I don't want to, there's probably other people in your life besides your partner, but so that's why I didn't specifically say just your partner, but yeah, like I'm assuming that's part of it. And is this just like an eternal, it sounds like an eternal nature or maybe camping trip or something. I don't know. Something like that. That doesn't sound too bad.
Yeah. In my thoughts, I have never gotten too caught up in like trying to make sense of the temporality of it.
Yeah.
Mostly because if I think about my late partner, I know that the idea of an afterlife is like their worst nightmare. They wanted there to be nothing. That's like
interesting.
Desperately. And so I'm like, I almost feel bad hoping that
there's some guilt. Yeah, totally.
But I always eternal, but also like outside of time. And I don't know, I like to think about it as if we were to be reunited with the people that we love and have lost, like maybe it would in some way be that person at all of the points in time that they existed, like with access to the kinds of like totality that makes up a person and who we are. Like at any given point in time, that's not today. Your brain is fried, my brain is fried. That's not who we are on a not brain fried kind of thing. If I were to drop dead right now and there were an afterlife, I would be very embarrassed to be like in the state that I am right now forever.
Yeah, totally. You wouldn't want to be frozen in this moment in time. Although I will say, I am having a wonderful time talking with you, so it's not that part of it. It's all the stuff that led up to this moment, right? Yeah.
Yeah. My dog dragged me into a creek. I'm wearing wet socks, and I've been wearing wet socks for 4 hours.
Oh, fun. Fun.
Not a good.
I love these ideas that start to get into like the idea that time is a thing that we just don't understand. And I think there's, at least in my mind, there's two different kinds of time. And I think the first kind of time is like the human construct of how we keep track of like essentially when to go to work and when to wake up and when to eat, and just organizing us to be like, I was going to say factory workers, and I don't know if that's exactly what I want to say, just to be like on schedule and do these things. And then I think there's just a time that we just don't understand. And yeah, I feel like if there is, I think in like the reincarnation stuff that I've talked to other people about, and I love the idea that it's, oh yeah, you could reincarnate, and it's not necessarily that you're coming back tomorrow in another body and do this thing again. It's, oh yeah, you could also come back 1,000 years ago or 10,000 years from now and stuff like that. And so I like getting into that side of things. But yeah, I think what I am interested in, and it's what you've mentioned at the top, and we talked about it a little bit, and I said we'd come back to it, but just the dance that you are doing right now, and it's multiple things, right? There's this desire to see your late partner again, but then there's also the belief that nothing happens. And then there's also the tension of that your partner really didn't want anything to happen. And so there's that tension of like, if I hope in this, then it's against what they wanted. And there's not necessarily a succinct question here, but what's that dance like for you? Like and maybe if it helps, if you want to give context about your partner and like what it's been like, any of that. But
Yeah.
I'm just like laying some groundwork here for wherever you want to go.
My dead partner story is a bit of a doozy. One of the things that I always really liked about this person was that we were really similar, but like complete opposites on a couple of important things. Like, I have always been fascinated by death and also terrified of it.
Mm-hmm.
And they were always fascinated by death and drawn to it. And I thought that was crazy. And they thought I was crazy.
Of course.
And it gave us a lot to talk about. And it also brought me a lot of comfort over the years. If I were ever like, oh no, like I'm a very worrisome person. I have OCD and it tends to manifest. And if we're on a plane, I'll be like, I got to keep looking at the plane tracker so that the plane doesn't fall out of the sky. Because if I stop looking at it, it will.
Yeah.
And they would be like, I get it. And also the plane's not going to fall out of the sky.
You can't tell me that for sure.
Right. I'm like, you can't tell me that for sure. And they're like, okay, but hear me out. If it does, is it that big of a deal?
I beg to differ, actually. It feels like the biggest deal.
And I could understand on paper what they were saying and how they thought about things, but I could never quite wrap my head around it. And same for me, but they would go out of their way to try and comfort me with, oh, like, I'll probably die before you. So if it's nothing, like, at least I'll be there. And that is comforting. If it's nothing, at least you'll also be nothing.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound comforting when I put it in words, but it felt comforting.
And that's, I would say, not to cut you off, but I think that's part of the issue is, and I'm not trying to say that we are the exact same people, but it's when you start thinking about it and overthinking it, it's like it feels like the way to get to that comfort is like to trust the feeling and not what the brain tells you. But that's a really hard place to get to. So I get what you're saying where it's it feels comforting, but as I try to explain it, it's one of those things that you can't explain in words. It's just a felt thing. And I feel like that's one of the biggest things that I've realized in the past 3 years of working on this. But sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, exactly. Like, it's so much a thing that you just have to trust your feelings, and that's terrifying.
Yeah, totally.
But I talked a lot over the years about death with my partner. Was like my best friend from the time we were 19 up until we were 28, which is when they died. So like a solid third of my life. Yeah. And I got to see them go through a really strange journey with their thoughts on death because they were pretty sick and they had really severe treatment-resistant depression. And they tried a lot of things that didn't work. And they ran out of things to try. And so then they started trying esoteric stuff that started to like mess with their brain. And one thing they tried was taking a lot of magic mushrooms.
Okay.
And turns out they had a family history of schizophrenia and other psychotic disorders. And those don't go very well together. And they developed schizophrenia. And from that point on, they went from believing that there was nothing after death and being very cool about that and not at all afraid of it to suddenly believing that there was something after death and it was bad.
Oh, interesting.
And it led to this very strange shift in our dynamic because suddenly they were extremely familiar with what it means to be afraid of something inevitable and inescapable like mortality.
Yeah.
But also they feared it for this, like in this way that Rocky, relax. Their fear was like extremely relatable and also not.
Yeah.
Because the thing that would make them feel better was the thing that would make me feel worse. And the thing that would make me feel better was something that they couldn't believe in, because if there was something after death to them, it would have to be bad, both because that was what they tripped really badly about was a horrible act, but also because they were a person who was really not happy existing. They killed themselves.
I'm so sorry.
So, thank you. Weirdly, I'm not, which feels wrong to say, but if anything, it was more of a death with dignity kind of thing than it was like they didn't just have mental health problems, they had physical health problems as well, none of which were treatable, all of which had been getting worse and worse over the years. Like they worked with a death doula and everything. And I don't know if other people in their life know that it was more of a death with dignity kind of deal.
Yeah, totally.
Because the legality of that is very state dependent.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I always knew it was going to end like this. I just thought we had more time. And I'm very sad that they're gone, but I'm also like, I know that it was they chose this.
Yeah, the suffering is over.
But it's, as you can see, it's like I can't keep my thoughts straight about it either. Like I do a dance around it because it's so difficult to make sense of the idea that this person who was always like everything to me, went on such a journey that they became like dramatically different with respect to their perspective on such matters, and then also like that they are gone. And
that's such a wild ride for you.
It's very surreal.
What was like I'm not expecting like to the day, but like rough timeline for this like shift, I guess. And it sounds like from this like really bad mushroom trip to their death, like roughly, like what was that timeline like?
That was in 2021. No, that was in 2020.
Okay.
Because I was still in shithole apartment number 2, so that must have been 2020. This is how I judge my time.
Hey, that's with the COVID time suck. I always look back and I'm like, I add 2 to 3 years to everything because it's like a black hole. So I don't love the living conditions, it sounds like, but I do like that you have some markers, but the living conditions don't sound great. I'm basing it off the cover essentially. But yeah, it doesn't sound great.
It was not great. It is a blur for a lot of reasons. Shithole apartment being one. The other was that my best friend was going through this horrible thing.
Yeah.
And the other was COVID. And I worked in pulmonary clinical research at the time.
Oh, wow.
So I was doing a lot of thinking about death for work, not just recreationally.
Everywhere.
And I think the order of events was they ran out of SSRIs to try, SNRIs to try, MAO inhibitors to try, ketamine didn't work, transcranial magnetic stimulation didn't work. And we're from Los Angeles, and I feel okay saying that because it's such a large city that is not traceable.
Yeah.
And it's relevant because that is a city where if you're going to try weird things to treat depression, you'll be able to find them.
Yeah, that's fair.
They smoked some kind of toad venom.
Oh, is that bufo? I don't know if that's...
I think so. That sounds right.
I'm really not... I don't really know anything. I barely know it.
Me either. They were trying all kinds of things in the hopes of it helping them feel like they could live.
Yeah, which sounds super reasonable.
Desperation to survive kind of gambit.
Yeah.
And that didn't work. So then they tried psilocybin, and I remember talking to them afterwards, and they were just in a state of like horror and shock because of just how bad it was. And I remember being really horrified for them because they were suffering extra, and something that was just like a last-ditch effort of trying to help had gone so horribly wrong. And I also remember being like a little bit selfishly upset too, because I've read all of those studies that are like, oh, psilocybin is a treatment for like the existential fear of death. And it's one of the only things that can help people get over that. And I had always been banking on someday I will try that and maybe it will help me.
Yeah.
And so they were like, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. Don't do that. It won't go well. And it was so bad that they couldn't be around any kind of like fungus because even just the idea of a portobello mushroom brought it. But I didn't really understand the severity of it for a while because it got worse over time, not better. And that was something that I'm still not entirely sure what to make of that.
Yeah.
But they were more or less the same person, just like more anxious and with some trauma.
Yeah.
For a couple of months. And then they got sort of like more and more depressive symptoms and to the point where they were talking about like going to Scandinavia and doing like legal with dignity.
Yeah.
And I remember begging them not to, which I regret because that put a lot of pressure on them and that wasn't fair of me. But I remember begging them not to because I wasn't ready to.
Yeah.
It felt like giving up on them, and I didn't want to give up on them, and I didn't want them to feel like I was giving up on them because I knew that they were in this place where they felt like death was the only thing that made sense.
Yeah.
Even though they were terrified of it. But the true scope of their terror of it didn't really materialize for another couple of years after the really bad trip. And I think it was like a 1-2 punch situation because what they ended up doing was they ended up trying electroshock therapy.
Oh.
And they were never the same after that. It caused some kinds of brain damage they never recovered from. And then in the months following that, they had this minor period of like having more energy and feeling more like connected to life and more outgoing and more self-exploratory and like desperate to pack some experiences into their short life. And that gave all of our friends like a lot of hope. We were like, wow, like they're doing better.
Yeah.
They started exploring their gender and they came out as trans. And we were like really hopeful that maybe this was like a new leaf for them. But
were you in the same boat or were you close enough to still have some like weariness, or was this like, oh shit, maybe this did work. Maybe we're coming out of this kind of dark period, for lack of a better term?
Bit of both.
Yeah.
Bit of both. It was like I saw a bit more of the person at first fallen for coming back, but also there was a lot of pain there, and it was. I thought we had some more time, and I thought maybe like this journey of self-discovery they were on would help more than the horrors that they'd gone through would hurt, but I wasn't too sure either way.
Yeah.
And then it was like from 2022 on, things just fell apart over time. They started to get more and more like hallucinations about this horrible afterlife that they had seen in their trip, like bleeding into their day-to-day reality.
Oof.
Until they weren't able to go outside at night. And then they like lost the ability to tell who was who until they thought that all the people around them were like manifestations of this horrible afterlife, including myself.
Oh no.
So I'm not really sure how much of the last 3 years of our interactions they actually knew were me.
Whoa. That's a lot longer than I thought you were going to say. I thought you were going to say that like...
Yeah, no, it was a lot better 3 years ago than it was a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
It got bad about halfway through. It was always a little bad, but it was like they would have these periods of it being really bad, but then they would mostly go back to being like pretty functional and pretty much the person I'd always known them to be. And in those bad times, like I'd try to be there for them and I try to help in what ways I could and in what ways they wanted. But then 2023 or 4, it just started to get a lot worse. And they got like much more physically sick too. They were throwing up all the time. They weren't eating. They lost a lot of weight. I thought they were slowly starving to death, and they were basically like there's this vein in the side of your head that you can only really see when people are really severely underweight. And that was like really prominent in them. And I was like trying to get people's attention. Hey, what do we do about this? And a lot of the doctors they were seeing blew them off about it. And a lot of the people in their life blew them off about it. And I thought they were going to die. And I was really scared. And they were like oscillating back and forth between being terrified of dying because they thought that they would go to this horrible realm of torture, and feeling like they were already in this horrible realm of torture. So what was the point of being alive?
Wow. Yeah.
And I don't really know what to make of it, because the more I threw and I've got a lot of health problems too, which I guess is important context. I've got like a genetic disease that makes all my organs not work great. It's not going to kill me.
This is brutal.
It's not going to kill me. I know. It's a bummer of a story. They had the same thing too, but theirs was a lot worse than mine. I'm fine.
Yeah.
It's just like painful, but I manage. And it could kill me, in that like some people die from it, but the kind that I have is really not going to kill you unless you're extra unlucky.
Yeah.
Or you live in Canada, where I would qualify for medical aid in dying, which is a real mind fuck, because this is a complete survivable health condition.
Yeah. Yeah. Canada definitely has a different set of rules up there in that scope of things.
Yeah. It's really strange. But so I didn't know until after my partner died that everyone in my life thought that either I was making myself sicker through caring for them, and like it was like getting to the point where we would both die, or like something horrible like that. Or apparently a lot of our friends thought we were in some kind of like suicide pact.
Oh, interesting.
I didn't realize this.
I mean, you were in the deep end's not even the right word. Like, you were in the shit. Like, you were in it. And so, just trying to stay afloat, I'm sure that, to even realize what your friends were thinking, probably not in the immediate
not in the priority.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, hey, this is, it sounds like you're a very devoted and caring partner, and just, this is what I'm here for. And this is the most important thing. And
Oh, yeah. Then basically, I realized it wasn't like safe or great as a situation, but I like told them like, hey, I need you to get a caregiver. I need you to hire a caregiver. Your insurance will cover it, and I can't be your caregiver and also my own person.
Yeah.
And they kept saying that they would do it, but they didn't. And I thought that they were just like, they kept saying they were like forgetting. And I was like, they got a lot of like things going on. Maybe they really are forgetting.
Yeah.
But after a long time, I was like, I don't think they're forgetting. I think they're just like not prioritizing that. And that's not okay. And they let slip that, they thought I was fine with them just not prioritizing that. And I was like, oh, that's not okay.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I want to be friends. I want you to stay my best friend. So I don't think we can be partners right now.
Ooh.
And so we like broke up.
God,
but it doesn't really feel like we broke up. And
I'm like crying over here. This is so,
sorry.
No,
really
this is really, it's heartbreaking. Yeah. Wow. Sorry. This is not about me. This is about you.
But yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. That had to be so
they
hard.
Were like, oh, it wasn't great. It wasn't great. Anyway, we broke up, and then they were like, that's cool. I was really staying alive because I didn't want to put you through me dying. So I'm going to go talk to a death doula now. And I was like, oh, please don't do that. Certainly not because of me.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel like I could be the reason that they, like, I didn't want to position myself as the reason that they felt like they needed to stick around and suffer.
That's not a, I'm not, I mean, and I put this in that, I'm not a professional, but that's just not a healthy position to be in for either party, right? Yeah.
For anyone.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I don't want you to die. I want you to be okay. And I don't think you're okay. And I don't think we're okay. And I love you and I care about you, and losing you would like destroy me in a lot of ways because you're a person that really matters to me. And I really do think they're like the love of my life, if such a thing exists. And I didn't want them to die, but I can't bully them into sticking around.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I tried my very best to toe that line of, look, like, I think you should get help, more help than you're getting. Because they were like getting help. Just it wasn't helping.
Yeah.
And also, like, they were always a person who wanted to die more than they wanted to live. And I knew nothing I could do would change that.
Yeah.
So what we ended up doing was talking a lot on Discord about, oh, Rocky. I adopted him to cope with grief. I'm really glad I did.
I was going to say.
I got to
talk about something that will love you no matter what.
Yeah.
No matter if they might pull you, I can't remember exactly what you said. They might pull you into the stream or whatever. But outside of that, it's a lot of love.
Oh, yeah. It's a lot of love and a lot of horrible sneezing noises intercut with screams or whatever he just did.
Of course.
But yeah, so we had a lot of weird conversations about death, and they promised to haunt me. I was like, you can't tell me if you're going to kill yourself or not. Like, I can't know that because I can't sit there and...
Yeah, you can't just... Yeah, I'm not going to sit back and do nothing.
Exactly. Yeah. But I also can't be the person who calls 911 on you knowing that you will just turn around and kill yourself the minute no one's looking.
Totally.
I can't put you through that, and I can't send you into a situation where, like, you'll get more horrible things done to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we ended up just having a lot of really... I don't know how to describe it. Yeah, we had a lot of, like, really, I guess, no holds barred conversation. That feels too antagonistic to describe it, but conversations about, like, death and the reality of what it would mean for one of us to be alive and the other to not.
Yeah.
Because, like, we'd been each other's talking to person for everything for so long. Good news, call this person. Bad news, call this person.
Yeah.
Bored, call this person. It's 4 a.m. and you're awake, staring into the void and wondering about what it will feel like to close your eyes, knowing that you're disappearing and that, like, in that moment of transition from living to dead, you can feel parts of yourself slipping away, or who knows, maybe you're not even cognizant of that. And you're thinking about who do you call when you're going down that rabbit hole of thoughts.
Yeah.
It was always just, and like, that makes it sound like I only miss them because they made me feel safe, but that's not true. I miss sense of humor.
That's not what I was getting. Just so you know, that's not what it felt like to me.
Good, because I miss the person that they were.
Yeah, absolutely.
And more than anything, I used to want there to be a life after death because I was afraid to not exist.
Yeah.
But since they died, I've wanted there to be a life after death because I can't cope with them not existing.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of the time I think, would it really be so bad if there were nothing after death? And these days, I'm not so scared of that idea. And I think part of that might be because I didn't heed their advice at all, and I went somewhere where shrooms were legal and took shrooms to try and get myself to change how I thought about death. And they were, like, mad at me about it. But they were like, don't do this. It could go so wrong. And I was like, no, but, like, it can also go so right. And, like, I'll be careful. And it did work out, and it did help some.
Yeah.
And it helped me sort of, like, thank you. I'm glad too. Like, I really spent the whole time thinking about them and about how, I don't know, something a friend of mine told me much later than this. That happened like years ago, like maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Still in the middle of all this, but thinking about it, it helped me shift how I think about time and how even if there's nothing after death, that doesn't erase the fact that we were here and that we lived, and there's that.
Yeah.
And that's what I keep coming back to. And I'm very lucky in that I have a good friend who's much older than I am, and therefore has lots of good life experience advice. And
it's good to have those friends.
It's really been a best friend. When my partner died, a lot of my friends are like, wow, that's horrible. I don't
Yeah.
I can't tell you anything to comfort you. I haven't been there.
Yeah.
But this friend was like, I've lost people that I really loved, and this is something that helped me through that. And the thing that she told me was that memories are physical, like in that they are determined and shaped by the chemicals in our brains to a real extent. When we remember people we love, we release different neurotransmitters, and the electrical activity that makes us up expresses that in a real way. And so when we think about the people that we love, they're still here physically, even if it's in their own bodies, it's in our brains. Somebody told her this at a funeral, and she told me this while I was crying at an event we were planning that I then had to leave and hide outside.
Oh, no.
And it really helped.
Hey, whatever it takes, right?
Yeah.
And so then we're getting close to the end, but I guess one question I have here, and I think this is probably a very loaded question, and it's maybe not even day to day and possibly even minute to minute, but like, how are you doing now? Like, it sounds like there's still a lot of, I don't want to say confusion, but just a lot of mental processing around, kind of how we jumped into this part of the conversation of like what you want or what you hope, but what you think and what your partner thought. And I think I don't know if it's really that interesting, but I think one of the interesting things to me was it was like your partner had this really big shift. And it almost seems like you also had a shift in feelings around death. And it's just really interesting how, I don't know, that those things can change and such big things, right? Like almost, I guess I'm obsessed with this question. So to me, it almost feels like the biggest thing to have feelings about. And for that to shift so dramatically for both of you is pretty powerful and devastating, right?
It's a lot. Yeah. It's really strange. I never thought that would be possible.
Yeah.
If you'd asked me even 5 years ago, do you think you'll ever like change how you feel about that? I'd be like, absolutely not. I have it since as far as back as I can remember.
Yeah.
It's shaped like every writing project I've ever done. It's shaped like every major relationship I've ever been. It's very strange. I feel kind of like childishly mad about it because like I'm very grateful that my perspective on death has shifted over the years, because I don't think if it had that I'd be able to cope with this horrible loss.
Yeah.
And it's weird because I'm still terrified of death.
Yeah.
It feels a lot more muted because I'm like, either there will be nothing and I won't have to miss this person anymore. I almost said their name. Or I'll get to see them again, and that would be incredible. And like, even if I don't, I comfort myself with that statistic that something like 80% of like hospice patients end up having visitations from the people that they've lost. I think where I am right now is also trying to feel motivated through grief, and that helps me try and channel death into something I can live with.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much of it all around us all of the time.
Yeah.
Especially the last few years. And I've tried really hard to, I lost my train of thought. Anyway, what I was trying to say was...
You're good. You had me like, hey, I was like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be like the most profound statement of all time. But that's also
no.
But it's also great, right? Is it because it just ended up in laughs, and that's the fun of this.
Two thoughts at the time. One was just that, like, when I was a kid, I would ask my older family members, am I always going to be scared of death? And they'd be like, no, when I was your age, I was terrified of death. And then I grew out of it. And I'd be like, what do you mean you grew out of it? You don't just grow out of how you feel about fundamental aspects of reality. It's bullshit. What are you talking about? And I don't think that I did, because I still maintain that that's bullshit.
I'm right with you there.
I just think that horrible life events have led me to a slightly darker perspective on it than I used to have. And with that has come some kind of like strange comfort that you get from being dark after a long time. But also, like, this is anonymous, so I can say, like, politically, I'm a bit of an anarchist, and anarchy has a lot of grieving that goes into it. Especially lately, there's been quite a lot of anarchists who've died over the last few years. And there's a lot of reckoning that comes with that, of like, how do you carry on when people die fighting for things, and what to do with that. And in a time like this, politically, when there's like all kinds of war and genocide surrounding us all across the globe, and there's so much unrest, I try to hold on to grief as a unifier. Like, people talk about death like it's the great equalizer, and I think that's really stupid, because it's not. Like, there are people who die because systems of power kill them, and there are people who get to live long, happy, healthy lives, and it's not equitable at all. But I do think that death has the power to be a unifier nonetheless, because if there's one thing everybody on earth can relate to, it's the feeling of grief and loss.
Yeah, absolutely.
And lean into that, it make us feel more connected to each other, rather than use it as a justification to pull away and to isolate. And it gives us a power to empathize with people that maybe is uncomfortable and heavy, and also really important. So I try to sit with the grief that I have and let it carry me into, I don't know, I keep coming back to the phrase mourn for the dead, but fight like hell for the living. An oldie but goodie.
Yeah, totally. I love that last thing that you said, because to some extent, it's something that I think a lot about with this project. And I guarantee there are people that I've talked to that we have voted differently. We have different beliefs on big things, but it's not like we're sitting here talking about the weather. Like, we are having deep, meaningful conversations, and it's just two people on the phone connecting and just being very human. And sometimes I'm crying during the call, and sometimes it's something much more philosophical. But at the end of the day, it's just, I don't know. It's maybe I think there's a lot of elements of this project that are like, okay, here's the messages. And I think that's one of the secret messages of this project is we get pinned against each other, whether it's generationally, whether it's politically, all these things, but we are all humans. We are all going to die, and we can still have conversations. We can connect. There's a lot still there. And so I really love that you brought that up there at the end. I do have one last question for you. And it's after that very deep conversation. It's not that it's not a deep question. Often a lot of people are like, this is the hardest question of the whole thing. Sorry to tee it up that way for you, but it just goes in a completely different direction than where we've been. But I like to ask everybody the same question at the end of the call. And it's, what's one thing you still want to experience in this lifetime?
Ooh, I think I'd really like, I don't know. I'd like to see my bat flower flower. Yeah. I'm trying to grow a bat flower. I've never grown one before. I don't know if it'll flower, but I'd like to see it flower because they look like bats.
I've never heard of this before, so I'm going to look it up once we're done with the call. But I bet from the way that you... Go ahead.
The genus is Taka.
Okay.
If that helps.
Okay.
They come in different colors. I have a black one.
Oh, cool.
It's a tropical flowering plant. and it grows 2 feet tall and then puts out a flower that looks like a bat.
Whoa, that's awesome.
And they're just like so bizarre, and I've never seen one in real life. But I'd really like to make that happen.
You're not going to only, I guess it sounds like it could be difficult, but I'm just like going to go out on a limb and say, you're not only going to see one, you're going to, in a sense, like, create it. You're going to make it happen. I'm putting full faith into this.
Thank you. I really hope so. My roommates and I would be very delighted if it works out.
When it does happen, you have to take a picture and you have to send it to me because I want to see it. I'm obviously going to look it up and get some details about it now, but I want to see the one that you make happen.
Oh, okay. It's for flowers, I promise.
Perfect. Yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for, first off, just thanking you for being willing to do this, but even more than that, like thanking you for like your willingness to share such a difficult and tragic story. And yeah, it can't be easy to talk about. I get that there's also talking to people, like there's something about being able to have a place to talk about it that's nice. Yeah. But there's still an element of it that has to be difficult. And yeah, so I just want to say I'm really grateful for you and for you to be willing to come on here and chat with me about it.
I'm really grateful for you for holding this kind of space and making this kind of conversations happen. I really enjoy listening to this podcast.
Oh, thank you.
I think it's a really important thing to talk about, and one thing I like about it is that it can and does go so many different directions, and it should, because it really does touch every aspect of life.
Don't I know it? There's definitely times where I'm like, even with the application, there's still some old like people who applied probably over a year ago where it's just a phone number, and so those ones obviously I go in not knowing. But even sometimes like the application says something and then the person doesn't talk about anything in the application and it's just like a wild ride. So yeah, they very much go in wild directions. And like you said, it should be expected with a topic like this that's so big and covers so much ground. So yeah, I'm glad that you were willing to lend your voice to be a part of it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, I hope you have a good rest of your night. Definitely stay in touch. Definitely send me a picture of the flower when it happens. And I hope you take care.
You too. It was nice talking with you.
Yeah, same here. All right, bye.
Bye.
Our caller spent years afraid of not existing, and their partner spent years at peace with it until the two of them swapped places entirely. And somehow, out of all of that, the caller didn't end up more certain of anything. They ended up telling me that even nothing wouldn't erase the fact that they were here, that they lived, that it happened. Maybe that's the part we're sitting with. Not what you believe happens after, but whether you can find some peace without an answer. I do want to take a moment here before we wrap to apologize for the lack of communication around not having an episode last week. It was a last-minute decision, and honestly, I really needed it. There's a lot I'm trying to pull together over the next couple months, and I hit a point where I needed to take a step back before I was totally burnt out. There's been a lot of internal pressure to just keep pressing forward full steam ahead, but that's just not sustainable. Going forward, I will be much better about giving more notice when a week off is coming, and get better at noticing I need one before I'm already there. But taking that week off also gave me a chance to actually look at how far this has come. We're a few calls away from our 100th caller. The 50th anonymous episode is about a month out. 2 months from now is the podcast's second anniversary. And 3 months from now is 3 years since I put out a little Instagram post asking people to call a random voicemail. There's still so much work ahead, but stepping back last week and actually seeing it laid out like that, I was really, really excited about how it's all coming together. So thank you for sticking around for it. More soon. I'll see you next week. When We Die talks exist because people have stories worth telling, and most of them never get told in a way that lasts. Mnemosiny is my attempt to do something about that. It actually started with a guest from this show, and after his interview, he told me how much it meant to have something he could share with the people in his life. So he didn't have to keep repeating himself, and so nothing got lost over time. I couldn't stop thinking about how many people have a version of that. Honestly, all of us do. All of us have a life worth capturing, and people who love us and would give anything to hear it told. Mnemosiny is a guided conversation with me where we capture someone's life in their own words, where they come from, what made them who they are, and the stories they want people they love to know. The recording is yours, private, personal, something you can share with anyone you want. If someone came to mind just now, even if it was yourself, that's probably worth paying attention to. You can learn more at nemosine.com. That's NEMOSENE.com. Thanks for listening to this episode of When We Die Talks. These conversations don't offer answers, but they do open space. Space to reflect, to feel less alone, and maybe to see things a little bit differently than before. If you'd like to explore your own beliefs out loud, you can apply to be an anonymous caller at whenwedietalks.com. And if a full call feels like too much, the voicemail is always open. Leave a message at 971-328-0864 and share whatever death has stirred in your life. Listener support truly helps keep this project going. If you'd like to support the podcast, you'll find a link in the show notes. And as always, please like, share, and follow. Every bit makes a difference. Until next time, have a good life. One thing that I was wondering is if you'd be willing to share your favorite memory with your partner. I know that's a question that a lot of people don't get asked, and I've heard from other people that it's something that they wish they got asked. And so, I don't know, I felt like I should maybe try it with you for the first time.
I would be so honored.
Awesome. I think maybe you just go for it. I don't think I need to prompt anything. This is off script. I don't know what I'm doing now, and I like to have a plan, so I'm a little confused. I'm a little scared.
Oh, cool. This is good. This is exciting. Okay. So we decided to get married. My best friend and I, we decided to get married, and we didn't want to have like a legal wedding. We thought because this is in case one of us needed to go on disability. You can't be legally married to somebody and still be eligible for disability and make more than like $2,000 a month total as a unit, as a household.
Gross. This is super lame.
So you can't afford to live on that. So we didn't want to get like legally married. So we were like, oh, we'll just do our own thing. And it's fine. Because what if instead of having like you get married and you sign some documents and it's one party and then that's what you did for the rest of your life? What if instead we got married with a different theme every year? They proposed this as like a concept. Like before we even started dating, they were like, hear me out. This is like the way to do marriage. Is you get married for one calendar year, and then when that expires, the next calendar year, you do it again.
Yeah, you decide if you're going to re-up or not. Yeah, I like this.
And they were like, yeah, it could be a different theme every year. And I'm like, oh, perfect. Yeah, it could be crazy. It could be crazy shit. So we decided to actually go for this. And the theme we picked was snake themed, like the animal, with worms. So if anybody came, we were going to make them dress up as a worm. But this was like mostly as like an anti-motivational tool, so no one would come.
Smart. I like this a lot.
And so we made these like insane costumes. Like they got this beautiful dress. It was this beautiful like sequined, like dark green, like bluish green dress that was like maybe floor length, but like with slits up the sides and like one sleeve. And it was like very gorgeous. And then I got a t-shirt that said sexy snakes on it that was 15 S's and 2 snakes making a heart with an arrow through them. And then I got like snake print leggings.
Oh, amazing. And I love this so much.
We thought like, the best way to top this off was to get like some snake print fabric from like rest in peace Joanne's. And they had like this like headband with like fake pearls on it. And I had this like snake headband bow tie tail, like $5 children's costume. And we made like snake fabric veils with like this tool, this like black tool with green snakes on it. And so we dressed up like snakes. And I think I did my makeup like Orochimaru as a joke. And then we like went to the party city and bought everything we could that seemed vaguely wedding themed, including like they have these stupid wooden circles that said like Mr. and Mrs. And we were like, oh my God, if we buy 2 that say Mr. and we turn one upside down, it spells worm. So we made an arch and we like put all these like fake flowers on it. and we put it in our living room, and we like hung the like little worm sign under it. And then we were like, we don't actually know how to host a wedding. So we looked up like how to host a wedding, and one of the first results was a WikiHow for how to host a dog wedding, and we were like, that's good enough.
Close enough. It's animal adjacent. This is a snake wedding.
And it was like, yeah, you get the dogs at the wedding podium or whatever, and you have them say arf arf to each other. So we did. And then we celebrated by listening to that one Evanescence album and going to Pizza Hut. And then we got Pizza Hut and we put gummy worms on the pizza. And boy, did it not make us feel good afterwards.
That's so amazing. That is so much better than what I expected when I asked the question. Did anybody come and dress up as worms?
No, but
even better.
Our demonic little dog was there. His name was Leviathan. He's 10-pound little like evil terrier.
Oh, you crushed this.
And
you did it exactly. This might be the best wedding of all time.
Thank you
ever.
So much. I think so. It was really good.
This is pretty great. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. I did not. I don't know. There was an urge to ask that question, and I'm so glad that I did.